So next question is, I heard from Ryo the other day that during your Ryo session, we are receiving the energy and the frequency of Sasani, and our DNA is hybridized, and we are becoming like you, Sasani being, more and more. So, are there any differences in the impact on the viewer between real-time viewer via such as Zoom or online, and the viewer who watched recorded video via such as YouTube video?
Sure, we'll talk about it like this. The energy is always strongest in person. If you were to spend enough time around the channel physically, you would transform. And what we mean by that is your DNA would begin to vibrate a little bit more quickly in a way that is healthful for your DNA, but also in a way that begins to activate some of the extra dimensional and terrestrial components of your genetics. So yes, through physically being near the channel, through physically being near our energy, you begin to shift. You begin to become a little bit more like us, and also we become a little bit more like you. And that's what makes us feel more human to you, through your species accepting of our frequency. Now, if somebody were to view us in a digital space, such as what you are doing in this type of live transmissional feed, there is a certain dimension of activation that occurs, and it's likely you can pick up on that if you just pay attention to the way you feel when you're listening to our information. The feeling that you have is actually the DNA upgrading. It's your energy body shifting, which toggles the genetic expression. Now, if a person is watching a recording, many interesting things can happen. Many interesting things can happen on a recording. Because on a recording, the photons are captured, yes? The computer screen captures the light, yes? And then when a person watches on their screen emanates the light. So when a person watches our videos, the light from this moment is captured, is copied, and is teleported into the reality of the viewer whom is watching the recording. So recordings can actually be incredibly potent if the person is in the correct state. When we say correct state, what do I mean? We mean the state that represents their natural state, who they are. If they are in a state of alignment, they'll be able to receive all of that information. For all of you, the information is very fresh. Because it's very fresh, it must integrate over time. But in a recording, the audience has already integrated the information for that viewer whom views it as a later date. So it makes the energy more easy for that later viewer to integrate. Where for all of you right now, you're doing that integration. And then what you'll notice is if you watch the recording of this, you'll feel what we're talking about. You'll feel how, because we've already had the session, there's been a subtle integration, and now the light from this moment, which is copied through the technology, can now transmit higher levels of the same teaching that you are then aware of upon that later viewing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.